then I'll know that we are live. We got chat up. Says waiting still. How come it says waiting still?
It's up on my side.
There we go. Yeah, it just came up through here. Well, welcome to the Friday night hangout. And it's summertime, so we hope to have a relaxed evening tonight. We only got 8 people up there, but it will grow through the night. Tonight's main topic is summer printing projects. Let's do some fun stuff. We've gotten into some heavy areas over the last couple of weeks, so let's relax, enjoy, and we'll leave the heavy stuff for the fall. So why don't we go through introductions? And I'm just looking at my screen. Why don't we start with you, Vicky? Oh, Vicky, we seem to have a problem with your hookup there.
I'm sorry, my audio is catching up. Hi, everybody. I'm Vicky Somma. I'm from the YouTube channel TGAW 3D. Legit on the video, but it doesn't mean I don't love. Oh, okay.
Oh, she's having connection problems there. So while she's working that out, Matt, what about you?
Hey everybody, I'm Matt from How I Do It. On my channel, we do 3D printing, woodworking, metalworking, electronics, just general DIY, basically sharing with everybody how I go about tackling different projects. I have a long-term project going on right now with the 3D printers that I'm doing all of the helmets and droids from the Star Wars movies. I've done the Shore Trooper helmet, K2SO head that has a motor in the bottom of his head, so he actually looks around the room and his eyes light up. And I'm getting ready to start I'm looking at models right now for the X-Wing pilots. That's going to be the next helmet that I do. So cool. That's pretty much who I am.
Yeah. Glenn and Xander.
Hey everybody, I'm Glenn.
I'm Xander.
And together we're Fun King 3D, and we started Fun King 3D, well, really to get him interested in anything but video games. We bought the 3D printer, and I thought it was a really good opportunity to get him into something a little bit more on the maker side, and that's when the YouTube channel started. And now we just print a bunch of tchotchkes. So we're hoping that our channel is a good encouragement for other parents to make stuff with their kids. So,
well, it's a great way to connect, right, Brenna?
Yes, Dad. Hi, I'm Brenna, also known as SuperiorJello. I've been here a few times. Most of you have probably seen me. Current projects is leveling my print bed and getting the extrusion settings fixed because it's not printing right now. And that makes me grumpy inside.
Great. Brenna's printer is in better shape than mine right now. I have mine almost completely apart. I got to sit down and put it all back together. I had 1 millimeter of filament get stuck in the heat block, I think they call it. But anyways, that's been cleared out. I just have to reassemble it. I'm Richard. I have the Zidim channel, and I focus on 3D printing and model trains. So that's why I'm trying to get in here. I've just moved in. Normally you see me in the room with Brenna. This is where I'm trying to do all my train stuff, and my printer is going to make its way in here in the next week or so. Vicky's back, so let's try Vicky again.
Is this any better?
Much better.
Okay. Hey, Glenn, wasn't this really nice of me to do that so you don't have to be nervous? Like, I'll get the technical issue out of the way just for you. So as I was saying, I'm Vicky at the YouTube channel TGAW 3D. It's a little ignored right now, but with good cause. I have some big projects brewing, and they're 3D printing related. Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter at TGAW, and I have a 3D printing blog at www.tgaw.com.
Great stuff. So as I said, I wanted to make it a lighter evening tonight, and you know, it's summertime. We're baking here. I don't know what the rest of the country is like or wherever folks are, but here we're living in the mid-30s. We're in Canada, so it's Celsius, so it's cooking, and a good part of the province is burning right now. But it's wonderful to sit outside, soak up the heat, or be in here and stare at computer screens as we're doing right now. So I'm just wondering, what sort of fun things have folks been working on or have done in the past? And I said this is perfect that Glenn and Xander are here, because we're looking for enjoyable projects. What can people do for the summer?
Well, being that we're still relatively new to the whole 3D printing thing. I mean, we got the ANET while we were waiting for our Prusa. The Prusa did arrive. We got it assembled, and now they're both going. But I hate to say this publicly, but my ANET prints better than my Prusa. But in fairness, we haven't really tuned the Prusa yet. But I do want to show what we made. It came off a Thingiverse. that is a Lego Man toilet paper holder. Let's see if I can get him up there so everybody can see. And we buy these huge rolls of toilet paper. I think that
qualifies as fun.
We buy these huge rolls of toilet paper off of Amazon, so I had to like channel his belly out a little bit to really get the toilet paper in there. But we just finished him today, and we did have a mishap. Again, I'm learning. PLA plastic, Tester's model paint. We had a little bit of it sucked the paint. Can you guys see that? It sucked the paint into the seams of the plastic. He looks like he's gothic. So we're learning. We're learning.
Yeah, it was one of the first prints that I took. It was a white SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. And I took and colored in the SpaceX on the side of the rocket in blue with a Sharpie. And the exact same thing. I did it, walked away, came back, and I had these streaks the whole way around the rocket. It's like, well, that's not right.
No, it was very disheartening. And you know, I at first I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and sand it and, you know, primer it and fill it and paint it. And then I thought, you know, for all that work, I'll just 10 hours on the printer and I had another head. So it's all good.
That's wonderful. I love it. What do you got printing in the background right now?
We actually finally settled down. Go ahead and show them that. We settled down and decided to make a maker coin. We posted it to our Twitter, but that's our maker coin. And I know it's going to be hard to see the detail in there, but if you look on our Twitter, there is a picture of it on there. And I decided to do a 2-color one. So I didn't want a typical maker coin like everybody else's, round, look like a cogwheel, and with the whole fun king thing, we did a crest shield instead. So
that's great. I love it. And I never thought about the painting. The painting I've done so far has been over a primer, and it hasn't had that capillary action in place. So nice to watch someone else make that or bring that issue to the forefront, so I don't make that mistake.
Well, that is kind of how we learn stuff, isn't it?
Yep. That's right.
And on the second head, I even tried, I'm using Tester's model paint, and I took yellow model paint and touched it up. I painted the whole thing in yellow first, thinking that it would fill all the pores, and I still ended up with like just 2 little tiny seams on the new one, but I can deal with it.
No, that's great. Vicky, you've been doing stuff from the beach and that. I see you traveling a lot, but what do you have for 3D printing fun?
Oh goodness. Just lately I've been catching up with some custom orders from a craft show. And I know, we're supposed to be 3Ding, but mostly I've been working on 2D pieces right now where they wanted a German Shepherd. So, it's a little German Shepherd where I'm doing the filament color switches to, hopefully it's showing up okay. And then for fun, to reward myself, I did a blue-footed bovie because, Charles Darwin, it just seemed like a fun little one to do. I've got a black lab. I'm working on a Samoyed. Let's see, and fun projects for me. I want to try to do a glasswing butterfly with some resin that my husband was working with on a game table. I noticed that the resin didn't heat up. So I think what I want to try to do is make the wings hollow and sort of try to get the resin to harden in between like the outlines, which is 3D printed. So we'll see how that goes.
So you're taking a 3D object and pouring resin inside of that.
Yeah. So we'll see. It didn't heat up, so I don't think it's going to warp it, but there's some things for me to figure out. And then other than that, on the 3D Printing Club at Facebook today, I saw this great project. There's a young boy, his name's Carson Hall, and unfortunately he has a DIPG brain tumor. I'm looking at my notes. Family is involved with the Kansas State Fair, and so a lot of the vendors there are trying to work up a fundraiser, and they reached out to the 3D printing community and said, hey, can you print whistles with his initials on it? And I'll go ahead and grab the link and I'll throw this into the chat. But yeah, I was just very captivated seeing everybody's whistles that they've been doing, and people are getting fancy with color changes. And I think the State Fair is in September, so we have some time over the summer to print some whistles. And so I'm going to put that on my agenda. I'm going to print that little boy some whistles for his fundraiser.
That's cool. Yeah, great idea for a fundraiser. Where was it? Dustin Jetman. He brought up a site. It's like a Kickstarter, but it's for the education world. And so teachers put up projects that they'd like to get funded for their school, and people can finance it that way. And while he was talking, there was one place, they were just asking for some funds to buy some rolls of filament. And it was like $140 they were looking for. And right after Jetman Dustin mentioned it, someone paid that entire thing right during his show. So it's a great fundraiser. So it's not only just for people with challenges, but for educational projects. Just since you mentioned fundraiser, great project.
Yeah, and I did pull up that page real quick. So this is, can you see my screen?
We have you, Vicky.
Okay, sorry. I'll put the link in the chat.
Okay, is that the whistles for Carson Hall?
Yeah.
Okay, Matt's got it up there for you. Very fast.
Beating me again, Matt, huh?
Yeah.
I can't let you win every night.
What about you, Matt? What sort of fun projects have you done in the past or may be doing?
So more summertime related stuff. Right now, my wife and my oldest daughter are preparing to do a fairy garden. So we've been doing some fairy garden related 3D prints. We're trying, instead of going to the store and buying the ceramic already painted, ready to be stuck in the garden things, we're 3D printing our own stuff. First thing my wife asked for was, I don't know if you guys can see this, little mushrooms. The top part is actually using a bottle cap, a beer bottle cap, and the bottom part is 3D printed. I just modeled this up quick in Fusion 360, just sort of it's not an organic model, but using the loft tool in Fusion 360, made the stem and everything for it. You guys can see that a little bit better that way, maybe. Then the next thing that we did for the fairy garden, we got this model off of Thingiverse. It's a tree stump house. I took the model, since it's hollowed out inside, you can see right through the windows. I don't know if you guys can actually see through the window there or not. Since it is hollow inside, I took the model into Fusion 360, or the STL into Fusion 360, and cut the top of the house off. Normally this would come up to a point up here. I cut it off, and I took apart a 79-cent solar lantern from Walmart and stuck the guts inside of the house. So the roof is actually partially the solar panel there. You can see the reflective part. And then the light inside. So at nighttime when the sun goes down, the light will come on and it'll shine out the windows. The other thing we're doing, I don't have one of them here close to me. I'm using the RGB NeoPixels from Adafruit. 3D printing, actually Devin from Make Anything, his acorns that he just did a week or two ago with the screw-on cap. It was funny that he decided to start doing the acorn or modeled the acorns because I was getting ready to do exactly the same thing. So I ended up, instead of reinventing the wheel, I took his model, modified it by putting holes in the cap of the acorn so that I can run the copper wire through it for the NeoPixels. Then I'm printing the acorn clear, and we're going to make little like pathway markers through the fairy garden that light up with the NeoPixels. And they'll change colors and everything, and like to the holidays and stuff. Like we just got done last week, the 4th of July here in the US, our Independence Day celebration. So if we would have had the fairy garden going, then the lights would have been red, white, and blue instead of all the colors of the rainbow. Things like that. That's what we're up to as far as our main summertime related print, is doing the fairy garden.
Are you doing those in PLA, or how's that lasting outside?
I am. I'm doing them in PLA. The planners that I did, like anybody who follows me on Twitter and Instagram probably saw the Yoda. It's actually the Yoda bowl that Printed Solid did a year or so ago. Matt Gordon from Printed Solid printed it on his G-Max as big as he could and made it into a trick-or-treat candy bowl for Halloween. I took that same model, maxed it out on my Wanhao, and made my wife a planner that I hand painted and everything. That's done in PLA. It's been sitting on the porch ever since, and we've been going through some of our hottest weather of the season, and it's holding up just fine. The acrylic paints, the spray paints, and everything that I did on that to finish that all's held up fine, and the PLA hasn't really softened at all. For stuff that's not moving, sitting outside with PLA, I think it'll hold up fine for a while. Okay, yeah, I was just talking to a fellow this afternoon. He did a PLA print. I forget what it was for, but he had it, I think, in the back of his house outside, and last week it melted. So, is that right? Yeah, it just softened and went down, but it would have been in full sunlight on a deck or something like that. Well, and the other thing too, most of the PLA stuff that we're putting outside, we're not going to be leaving it out just raw PLA. It is going to all be painted, like the tree stump house here that I showed. That's all going to get painted. That's not actually the final colors for it, the gray and the black. It's just the PLA that I had to print it out with. But they're going to get painted and everything. So they are going to have some added protection. They're going to be weatherproofed and clear coated and all that stuff as well. I don't know if that really affects the integrity of it sitting in the heat or not. Well, who was it just did a comparison of annealing different items? I can't remember if it was Tom or yeah, I'm not certain who it was, but they baked the items in an oven for about an hour at 100 Celsius. And it turned out the most heat-resistant item coming out of that was the PLA, which was totally against all the recommendations. But no, I'm just wondering, with the heat here, it would be great to have some outside things, but I'm just worried about printing in PLA. So give it a good coat. I have a lot of PET G here, but I have a roll of PET G. I haven't done too much yet printing with that. I did a little bit, but I've printed ABS before. I'm not opposed to printing ABS. PLA, like everybody says, PLA is easy. PLA is typically my go-to unless I know I need something that's going to be hold the different properties of PETG or ABS, or even like the HT PLA. But I have yet to really find where the HT PLA is actually like necessary over PLA for the most part.
Right. Vicky, have you put stuff outside for long term?
Yeah, actually, I printed a, I don't have the original, but I did a Mobius strip USB holder, and I printed it in color fab. It was a PLA PHA mix. I got it off the printer. My kids fell in love with it. They took it outside and they promptly lost it. And it was green, so it mixed in with the summertime foliage and everything like that. So we found it maybe a year later. My mom was doing some gardening and she found it, and it actually was in good condition. I mean, it was dirty and stuff like that, but it handled the weather fine.
Cool. Glenn, how about stuff? Have you been doing anything for the outside? I know you're just getting going, but
Yeah, no, all of my prints so far have been just stuff here in the house. I mean, it's really funny. My wife thinks I'm nuts because I got this 3D printer and all I did with it for like the first month was print parts for itself, you know, to make it itself better. And I said, well, you buy a 3D printer so you can print parts for your 3D printer. I don't know, you know, it's just. But no, nothing has gone outside. I'm in Florida. I don't know if you guys know that, but I'm in Florida, and it's hot here even in the wintertime. So I don't know if I would necessarily trust PLA outside, but now that we've had this discussion, I'm definitely going to take one of these scrap pieces I have and take them out there and just leave it. I'll leave one piece in the direct sun area and one piece in the shade, and we'll see how it holds up.
I have some PLA stuff that I leave in my work truck on the dash, right in the beating sun and everything. And the stuff does soften up in the heat. But like, again, as long as it's not like under any kind of stress, it's just sitting there. It seems to hold up pretty well. Like I haven't even had any real major warping or anything. Even like my phone holders and stuff in my truck. But even being down in Florida, I'd be curious what kind of results you guys get down there versus me being up here in Pennsylvania or Vicky in Virginia, to see what kind of differences the outdoor environment does. Sorry, Vicky.
I did have some butterflies that I left on a deck in direct sun, and the outsides curled up. I actually thought it looked, you know, like it was a neat effect. It was, you know, fitting for butterflies. So it was a fail, but it was a good fail.
Vicky, were the wings on those butterflies real thin?
Yeah, just about 2 millimeters thick.
Yeah, I'm thinking that would have a lot to do with it. I'm thinking if you put something real thick outside with a lot of infill, that maybe then there wouldn't be such an issue. So I'm gonna have to try a couple of different things.
Yep, the joy of experimentation. And we always look at the heat of everything. Brenna and I are up in Canada, but I'm going to print a few things and leave them out during the winter to see how they handle the cold. Not that where we are it gets really cold. You know, if we were back in High River, then they get to really experience the cold and see how things hold up.
Or if we were somewhere farther north.
Yes.
Because we're right down by the border here, so it's nice and warm.
Yeah. You know, moved here, picked grapes off the vines day after I moved in, so different sort of temperature here. Brenna, what sort of fun things are you thinking of doing?
I have like 10 million plans now that I know I can put PLA stuff outside. I've got like a folder on Thingiverse of things that I was like, well, this would be cool to print. A bunch of them are like those fairy door things. I think the exact same one that you've got sitting there, Matt, is one of the ones that I've got in my folder. But yeah, so a lot of those things. So that'll be neat.
I've been printing in wood and trying staining and things like that, so I haven't been focused on that sort of project. A lot of questions about PETG in chat. I started out mostly with PETG, although I've been doing a lot of PLA lately, especially with the wood projects. But the PETG seems to be fairly easy to print with. I haven't had any problems. You know, I'm just as new as Glenn there. You know, Brenna and I have only got our printer, well, several months ago now, but we have been working away with them. But the PETG has been very easy to work with, and I think it's easier to finish. PLA, sanding it is a royal pain. The wood is easy, the various wood composites that we've been using. But
here's one of the little wooden frogs that I just printed. It prays for my prints, so they actually work. It hasn't been working recently, but that's probably because he needs a break.
yeah, I have a big one of those in Pet G. That was one of my first Pet G prints. But,
yeah, we had just ordered a roll of Pet G. I was going to say I'm thinking about, but we're almost definitely going to turn our A8 into the AM8 with the aluminum frame. So I want to print all the parts in Pet G. And so I ordered a roll of yellow Hatchbox from Amazon, and they were nice enough to send me a roll of red instead. So by the time I got it and sent it back, the yellow was out of stock. So I don't have any Pet G experience yet, but hopefully soon, hopefully soon.
I saw the maker box behind you. My latest print, Brenna, can you grab it? Do you have it, the reel? Because it's found, it was mentioned actually on the Facebook group for Maker Box, and it's a spool that comes apart, so you can put on your samples from Maker Box. It's sized exactly for those. And nice. I have some film that keeps one to bounce out of it, but say hello, Brenda, so we can see it. Oh, you're muted.
There we go. Yeah, it's nice and skinny, so it fits the things. This one's been bouncing off of it, as you said, so we probably need to, use the little holes that are on the sides that are to keep it from doing that, Dad. Like a clever person.
Yes, dear.
Yeah, if I can do a little bit of a shameless plug here. If you guys haven't watched my Maker Box unboxing video from June, you got to go watch that, because my youngest son Zach was in it, and he's just a goofball. I mean, all he does is sit and make faces at himself in the camera, which is hysterical as it is. But and then we threw a little video editing in on him too. It's just too funny. It's actually our second most viewed video that we have now.
Well, I got to be careful with the maker boxes, because when they come in, if Brenna opens first, various samples disappear very quickly.
The rainbow, the glitter, the pink.
Yeah, a few things like that.
Glenn, did you have a chance to use the cork fill yet?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute fast enough. No, we haven't, because I haven't really thought of a good project for it yet. I know that you said it handles overhangs real well, but I actually haven't. I don't think we've used any of the samples out of any of the makers, because they're like so special. It's like we're saving them for something good, and then we just haven't come up with anything good yet.
Have you guys seen any of the streams?
Right?
Have you guys seen any of the streams in the past where I hold up my stash of Maker Box samples? I have almost every one from October.
Yeah, I know. October to now. Same way too. Nilla's got a ton of them piled up behind him.
Yeah, my stack's growing too, but those reels are going to help a lot, because it makes it very easy to go, oh, I want to do a little bit of this and throw it in, as opposed to try to just deal with the coil filament. So.
Do any of you guys, so I guess everybody on the stream tonight gets Maker Box.
Me.
Oh, you don't get Maker Box, Vicky?
No.
I thought you did. For Richard and Glenn, for you guys, and Brenna, for your channels and stuff, and Vicky, if you would ever start getting Maker Box, message Nick. He'll give you a referral code that you can give out if maybe you guys already have them. I know we've shared ours in the past. Anybody who's got them, we've shared them on the stream in the past. But anybody then who enters that code, I think they get 15% off their first box. And for every 7 people who get one using your code, you'll get a free Maker Box.
Yeah, sorry, Matt. We just got our code 2 days ago. There was a little bit of an email issue back and forth between us, but they finally gave us our code, and of course it's Fun King 3D.
yeah, mine's how I do it. They for the YouTube channels and stuff, they do pretty good at keeping it our names, at least for now.
No, I haven't done that. Need to get into that. You know,
It was cool. Last month I saw the $19.50 came off the credit card, and like a week or two later, I see a credit for $19. I messaged Nick and I messaged Matt Gordon. I said, "Hey," I said, "is everything okay with my order?" I said, "I got a refund, so I just want to make sure I'm going to get it." And Nick told me, he said, "Yeah, you hit the 7 referrals, so I got my free box," which is cool. To everybody who's used my referral code, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a lot of fun. You know, to see what's in there and dream of projects. It's just getting away from the dream to actually getting them out of the machine.
The only bad part about it is when I find one I really, really like the polycarbonate and stuff like that, then I go looking to see what a full spool of it costs, and there's quite a few really expensive samples that we get.
Well, my brother just called me this afternoon, and his $500 crosscut shredder just broke one of the gears inside, and he can't find the part, so I'm going to be printing it. But I'm going through my filaments from MakerBox, because I think a while back they had the carbon fiber. And
there was a carbon fiber and something else that might be interesting for you to try too if you haven't used it yet. I think there were 2 months now where there was nylon. A lot of your gears are made out of nylon.
Yeah, yeah. When we looked up, what he was looking for was POW, I think they call it, a form of machining plastic. I did find it. There is a supplier of the filament for it, but
there's another one that's like Delrin. It's close to Delrin. I just saw a week or so ago. I forget where I saw that now. If I find that, I'll have to send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, the one I was looking for, I did find it on Amazon, but yeah. But MakerBox, you just get all these toys to try. You know, I think I know what I'm going to be printing with the terracotta, and that'll be some items for the museum for the train display, and to see how the prints come out. But I can leave it in the terracotta, and we can have some planters, things like that on the layout. No, it's great fun dealing with those things.
So kind of a spin on the MakerBox, if you guys don't mind. I used to make T-shirts. I used to own a T-shirt company, oddly enough named Fun King Shirts. Just how that whole thing started. But you know, the vinyl manufacturers, they send you these wonderful catalogs with strips of all of the samples of the vinyls, and so you can physically see them. And it just baffles me why the filament manufacturers don't do something like that. Why they don't send you a bag or something of just like, you know, 2-inch strips of their filaments so that you can see the color, you can kind of feel the texture of it, that kind of stuff. I mean, it would cost them almost nothing.
Some of them do, like Protopasta sells $3 samples, which are basically the equivalent of like the MakerBox sample. It's hit or miss with some of the manufacturers, but a lot of them, if you message them, email them, you can request samples from them. And they'll give you a decent sized sample a lot of times.
Yeah, I'm talking just, you know, just like just a packet of little pieces just so you can see there. Because I was looking for a yellow that matched the Lego yellow. I wanted to make sure that the Pet G was going to match all of the same Hatchbox, PLA, you know, that kind of stuff. And it just seems like nobody has that option available. And then I thought, well, maybe I should just order a spool of everything from every manufacturer, and I'll cut it up into 2-inch pieces and sell it and make $1 bazillion. And then I thought, that's crazy. I don't want to cut up all that filament.
Do I have that? Yeah, there we go. I was thinking, what's it called? FoxSmart. They list sample packs, but every time I've looked at it, they've been sold out. Now, the other aspect to it is they're dealing with the center for challenged individuals, and they're the ones that actually put the packages together. So it feels good just getting the package from them anyway. But as I said, most of the times when I look there, I've never seen it in stock. just catching up what's on chat here.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Vicky.
Me? Okay.
Yep.
Hey, so on the subject of summer prints, Josh from Design Make Teach, he wasn't able to join us today. He's traveling. He's actually in the chat. He did give me some ideas that I thought I would pass on. The first thing, he has like these little spinning gimbals, and he was talking about how you can make them into custom straw holders, or you could put them in your margaritas and everything like that. I'll put that link in chat. The ones that I really went with is he was talking about, you know, you have your kids at home and you're trying to think of summer projects. He was talking about maybe having them design their own little bubble wands, you know, out of a Morphe app or a Tinkercad, which just, I want to steal that idea and go with my 6-year-old and 4-year-old right away and do that. And then he also mentioned, you know, for those who are going into 3D scanning, that summertime you have a lot better lighting than you do at wintertime when everybody's all sequestered into one room during the holidays and you're trying to scan people. So summertime would be a good time to scan people, which we may want to try. We tried to scan my 3-year-old back in the day, and he moved in the middle of it, and you could see the model as it was rendering on the laptop, and he had 2 heads, and it just freaked him out, and so now he's scared of the scanner. But maybe now we can breach that again.
Yeah, we tried with Dixie when we were down at Nova. David his assistant, tried to scan Dixie, and she didn't sit still enough at all. He tried that. I got to give him credit. He tried like 5 or 6 times to do a scan over.
Dad tried to scan me, but I've got this thing where I've got all this hair and my bangs are sitting in front of my face, and so we just got giant blocks in front of my head. So we need to retry that.
What are you using for the software for the your scanning?
I forget what the name of the software is that I used.
I was going to say the same thing. It was with the Connect, but I think it's like Schenectady or something. It's got scan in the word.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's SCAN IK, whatever, however you spell Connect. And
it uses the Microsoft Connect. And you just hook the Connect to the computer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look into that.
Oh, I see a light bulb going on your head.
I mean, we have the Xbox with the Kinect on it, but the kids don't really play those games anymore because you have to get up and move around.
Is it the Xbox One Connect or the 360 Connect?
It's the 360 Connect that I have.
Hmm.
Does Connect sound right, Matt?
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Matt seems to have disappeared for a moment. There he comes back. I've been using Agisoft, which is an independent package, and they have 2 levels. There's one that's $170, and then there's their full-blown package, which is I think around $1,000. But the lower end handles what we need. Nice thing is you can go and take pictures of building. There's a church down the road. It's abandoned. And I want to go get permission to get some good pictures of that, because then I can plug it into that for a model for layouts. So Matt, did you get the question there from Vicky?
I didn't. Apparently I kicked myself off. What did you say, Vicky?
Does Connect sound right?
Yeah, I'm posting the link to it in the chat right now.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Skanect, SKANECT.
Yeah.
It does, it's slow, which, I mean, really any 3D rendering software, when it does the actual render, is really slow. But it does pretty well. I mean, you still have to repair your model, which I used Mesh Mixer to fix mine. I had a big, like, gaping, looked like somebody beat me in the back of the head with a baseball bat. But I also sat here in my office chair and held my Kinect and went like this and rotated it around my desk.
Yeah, for the processing, that's why when I bought a computer, I got a workstation. What that Agisoft really looks for is RAM. So we got the 64 gig in here. And some of the comparison test something that took on their list, they suggested be an hour. This was getting done in about 10 minutes. So it's nice to throw the power into it. What I'm looking forward to, and I need to get going on it, is I've seen where people have taken pictures of cliffs when they're, you know, in one case he was kayaking down a river, took pictures of the cliff as he went by, plugged it into the software, and managed to make a model out of that. And there's a couple of cliffs here that I have to go get pictures for the museum, because we want to model that right into the layout that we're building to take to the trade show and the country fair here in town. Vicky, you mentioned you have some other summer project ideas.
Oh, I was just stealing them all from Design Make Teach, but yeah, that I think. Oh, I guess he also suggested if you're on vacation and you're not really digging what they're doing, like I guess you're putt-putting and you're bored, that you can try practicing scanning with your phone, finding an object and, you know, making use of that time. Matt has. Why don't you talk, Matt, so we can see your.
Yeah. So here's my. Am I still? Okay, you can hear me. Here's the first print of my scan on my head that I did. And you can see, like, it picked up my beard and everything really well. It even, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, it even gave me an ear piercing.
I gotta say, that's actually a little creepy.
Yeah, it is. It was really weird when I printed it the first time, but like, so in the back of my head, like right in here, it looked like the Grand Canyon in the scan. I had to bring all that back up and level it out, which was pretty easy to do in Mesh Mixer.
Was the modeling software trying to tell you that your head is empty? Because that's just rude.
Now, are you going to use that for modeling some helmets for yourself?
Actually, I do plan to. There's a pink one that I did as well. I do plan on trying to use that.
Heather's camping, so the pink is lost.
Yeah, I do plan on trying to use it to do models, because with the Kinect, it actually did know the proper scale and everything, at least I think. One of these days, well, probably a month or so, when I get a CR10, I am going to print a full-size one just to like see if it's actually close, if I just do the full scale.
Cool. We never actually received the one that we had done. I have to get hold of the company. We were at Comic Expo in Calgary, and they had 60 cameras set up. So you went in there and they got all the images at once. They were supposed to send me the file. I haven't received it again, so I'm going to have to get that back, because I would like to print out some things for my armor to rest upon.
That's back when Nova Maker Faire was this year, back in March. I did that video on David Preet. He's the one that's doing the 3D printed American flag with, he's collecting 3D scans of people's heads right now, and then he's going to print them all out to make the American flag. He did a scan of my head and sent me his 3D model, and he actually used an actual 3D scanner as opposed to the Kinect. Forget the name of it that he used. RC on Life did a video and had one of them. I want to say it's like called the Sense or something like that, or Sensi or something. He sent me that, and I'm excited to see when he does get around to it, because I did the video and everything for him. He's actually going to send me a bronze centered one of my head, print of my head when it's complete, which will be really neat to get that.
As I mentioned, I've been mostly printing frogs, things like that, my horses. The key thing is getting stains on these things. But I'm thinking, you know, for people who have younger kids in the house, what sort of things do you print for the kids?
Dixie keeps asking me for a lot of stuff for her Barbies. Jennifer, what was the last thing Dixie asked me to print?
A hula hoop for her Shopkins.
Oh, she wants me to print a hula hoop for her Shopkins, which, for anybody who knows what a Shopkin is, they're these little tiny plastic figures, like about that big. Like, they're no more than like half an inch to an inch tall. And she
Well,
currently wants a
that should be easy enough with just the waste that spews out of the nozzle.
Yeah, I ain't just lift the nozzle up and let it run out.
So my oldest son, Sagan, he has this whole superhero universe that he's made up in his head. It's called the WoW universe, not to be confused with a World of Warcraft. It's something else. It's WoW. And it's very elaborate. It has languages, and he wants to make games, and he wants to make action figures. So that's something he wants me to print. I've got a beta version of that desktop hero. I think Nolan 3D. He's got a YouTube channel. He did a video on it, and it just looked right up on their alley. So that's what Sagan wants me to print. As a heads up, sometimes my queue gets really long. Sagan for a long time wanted a Pikachu, and I dilly-dallied on printing him one. So Matt from Printed Solid actually shipped him a Pikachu with one of my filament rolls so he can have one. And then, Sagan has these project ideas, and he'll look at me. He's a big fan of Joel Telling. Joel Telling often uses the Gmax, and so Sagan will say, "Mom, I have a project idea, but it's going to need a Gmax." So we'll have to, he wants me to buy a Gmax.
Glenn, what sort of things are you hoping to be doing? Fun things?
Well, I was actually going to say that I want me to buy a Gmax too. I don't really know. Like, there's things that we've been kicking around and talking about printing, and they always get put on the back burner. But I mean, I've done a few things. Like, I set up Octopi on both printers, and the cases that were on Thingiverse were all for the Raspberry Pi 2. Which the difference between that and the 3 is that the 2 has got the click to eject SD card, and the 3 doesn't. So you couldn't get your card out of the thing. So I redesigned the case to fit my needs. It is on Thingiverse. I've done a little bit of designing of parts for the A8 and stuff, but it's just been dumb little things like, I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is the Incredible Hulk with a creeper head. Both my boys are Minecraft fans, and one of them is definitely a Hulk fan. So those came out. I printed some boats for my youngest, Zach, for in the bathtub, which worked out pretty cool. So it's really been trinkety things. This guy right here, which I guess I can unplug it. Hold that up so you can see. That's on my YouTube channel as well. I call this my hot box, and I built this as a quick change for the cameras in OBS when we're doing our videos. Because we use 3 different cameras. I've got one overhead and the 2. So this just allows us to change to the different camera angles and stuff. And I had it in a cardboard box to begin with because we were waiting on our printer. So obviously when the printer got here, I designed the box and made the cabinet for it. So it's really been a lot of just trinkety things. The toilet paper holder is probably the most useful thing that we printed. What am I forgetting? What else have we...
You've printed low poly
Pokemon. The low poly Pokemons. I don't know if you can see that. We're really far from the camera, but
you can find them on Thingiverse.
Yeah, it's really been a lot of stuff for the kids. I'm trying to find stuff for my wife to appease my wife to explain why I keep spending all this money. When I first got it, I designed and printed a tile holder. My son Zach made her for Mother's Day a tile, one of those 4-inch bathroom tiles with his thumbprint like grapes, and it said, I don't even know, some cute little saying on there having to do with grapes, but it just laid around. So I made her a holder for it, and that was like the second thing I ever printed. I'm like, here, look, this is what the printer can do.
You also printed her like a Wonder Woman thing.
Oh yeah, I did print her the Wonder Woman logo. So, I'm just trying to appease the wife, but I don't know. I'm trying to find practical things for it, but at this point, it's really just tchotchkes. So
the practical things, especially the ones that impress your wife, they'll come around eventually. I just did one for something for Jen that she's been wanting me to do. We have our youngest daughter is a year and 3 months old, or going on 3 year and 3 months, and she gets up at the TV, the cabinet and everything that the TV's on. So we have this fence. It's meant for like a dog and stuff, but we have a fence around that cabinet, and now she's getting to the point she's smart enough, she'll move it out of her way. So I printed, it almost looks like a latch for a gate, like one of the ones where you pick up the lever, slide it over, and lock it down out of the way. But for the gate, so the gate goes on, it's screwed to the side of the cabinet, and it's black, it blends right into it. And Jen hasn't had to chase my 1-year-old away from the TV stand ever since I did that just the other week. Stuff like that, she starts to appreciate what I can do with it then.
You need to do the other side.
She said, she just sitting over here, she said, I need to do the other side of it now.
I printed a couple makeup organizers, and they have been a godsend. So there's useful things that you can print. I had to measure out enough space for all my lipstick to fit in one, because the one that I found on Thingiverse, it had enough for like 8 different lipsticks, and I'm like, but I've got like double that. So that was a fun little project. Also, jewelry trees to hang all your little necklaces and earrings and things on. They're pretty sweet. I have one that's shaped like the tree of Gondor.
Glenn, another question for you. You mentioned finding things on Thingiverse. Have you done anything, your own designs? Well, you mentioned the box there. What software are you using?
I actually use Rhino 3D, which I've been using for, I don't even know how many years, probably close to 20 years now. And that actually started, I built a boat that you could buy the plans originally through Popular Mechanics a million years ago. And then they released the plans through their website, and I actually got the guy to send me the CAD drawings, and it was done in Rhino. So I picked up Rhino. I got the company I was working for at the time to pay for my licensing. And so I just kind of went with that. And it's actually a NURBS modeling. It's not a mesh, but it does export to STL, and the stuff prints beautifully. I don't think I've had a problem. Anything that I've designed, I haven't had a problem with it like glitching out or anything. So
Now, what about your son there? Has he started doing any designs?
I haven't really designed and printed anything, but I use Tinkercad, and like my dad tells me to design something and I design it. Like
I just pick random things. I tell them, go make a rocket ship, or, go make a sign with your name on it, just to try to get him into that whole, because I know I had problems when I started with 3D stuff. My brain wouldn't wrap around the third dimension. I can draw in 2D fine, but when all of a sudden he started to move that third dimension in, I had a hard time with it. So that's kind of why I'm doing that to him, just picking random stuff.
Now, why do you like Tinkercad?
because my dad told me it was the easiest one.
I figured if I started him in Tinkercad, then I could move him into probably Fusion 360. I don't think I'd move him into Rhino, just because obviously that's not where the world's going. Rhino is a fantastic program, but it's not mainstream enough. So I think I would move him into Fusion, which I haven't even learned Fusion yet. I've played with it a little bit, but I'm old, and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
Another one in the chat, Keith was mentioning that his kids use Morphe app, which I believe you can do on the iPhone. Yeah,
Morphe's good for iPhone and iPad. They've been saying for a while that there's an Android version coming, which I've been waiting for them to do. I'd love to see something like Morphe for Android, but right now, unfortunately, Android's limited. There's nothing there for it.
I just bought a new iPad, so I want to look up some of this stuff. So I haven't heard of Morphe. So
yeah, Morphe's MORPHI. Make 717, the local makerspace over in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Anytime they go to shows or maker fairs and stuff, they'll take a bunch of iPads along and set up a bunch of printers with Morphe. Cool thing is Morphe then allows you to again, I haven't used it directly, but my understanding is it allows you to take the model or the drawing that the kids do and email it. So what they'll do is they'll have the printer set up over in this area and the iPad's over at the main tent, and they'll let the kids draw. They'll email it to the guys that are at the printer location, and they'll go over and they'll print it, and the kids can go watch it and stuff. But it basically like builds a queue, and they can work down through that queue of the prints that are waiting to be done. It's really neat. It's cool for kids because they literally get to draw. But it's also neat for stuff like that too. It's simple. I don't know how advanced you can actually get with more if you haven't really gotten to play with it a lot.
I'll try it out. It's interesting you mentioned, how the tents are set up. Last Friday here in Creston, a mobile makerspace came through. It was booked in by the library. And these fellows, they started out in Vancouver, I believe. He's moved out to this area now. And he was invited down to the Bay Area Maker Fair because they have the oldest mobile makerspace in North America. And so they have 4 desks set up with printers inside this trailer. And they can teach about 10 people at a time in there. And they, go to schools and that during school days, and during the summer they go to public events, so people can go in and they can see how things are designed, and then they can do the prints. But being a makerspace, it's not just 3D printing. They get into other areas. They had a bunch of LEDs with wires coming out and a conductive putty, so you can make a different shape, put it down, plug a battery, the ends of a battery into each piece of the putty just reshaped, and then put LEDs into them and get them to light up. And then they had different soldering projects older kids could try out. So pretty neat concept. But once again, a lot of people have never seen a 3D printer, so it sort of ties into our previous conversations of outreach to the public. But yeah, the kids had a lot of fun doing that stuff. All right.
Yeah, I'm always shocked when you say, like, I tell somebody, oh, yeah, I just bought a 3D printer, and they go, oh. And they're kind of dumbfounded, and you're like, a 3D printer so you can print stuff. Well, I don't understand. Like, the pictures are in 3D, and I'm like, no, like, you take code and you physically end up with something on the end. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, you stick this stuff in that looks like weed eater line, and then you have a tangible product. It is amazing to me how many people don't even know that the technology exists.
I now keep a few printed items in a pocket when I go out, because I start talking about 3D printing, and yes, you get those stares. So you go, here, here's a frog I printed, or, here's a spinner. And, with the spinners, it's, oh God, not one of those. But anyways, it's, they go, this is printed, especially when you have, I had one here a moment ago.
Yeah, that's why I finally decided to do the maker coin. Again, I mean, ours isn't a coin, but
oh, disappeared. I don't know where I put it. The droid moving into a different room. But yeah, when you show somebody, my frogs are in the wood material, so when you mention it's wood, you get that double look at the item. This is one I'd love to be taking around and showing people, but this is off the form too. It has the DNA strand on the inside. Sometimes I take this if I'm just saying, well, if you get more advanced, then you can get into the SLA printing. But in the meantime, yeah, people are astonished of what's happening in this world.
Well, I like to tell the story about, I mean, when I first seen 3D printing, it was well over 20 years ago when they were talking about it. I was a computer tech at the time, and this was this up and coming thing. In the article I read said that you were going to buy this machine, and I mean, you were going to run down to like Sears and buy this piece of equipment like a microwave, but then say you broke the knob on your toaster, you could call the company. There was no internet back then. You could call the company, and they could send you the code to put into this machine and print a new knob for your toaster. And I thought, boy, the day we see that, that'll be amazing. And of course, there was other technology that came along before it. Now we have the internet, but I mean, here we are. If I need a nub for my toaster, I can get one, not necessarily from the manufacturer, but I can make one, or somebody else already did.
Well, that's why I came across one site, and I have to flag it on my system because I can't remember what it was called. But there's hundreds of manufacturers that put their parts on there as STL files. And if you need a part, you go on there, find the manufacturer, you put the part number in, and you get the file. I know I got a terminal strip that I needed at the museum, and the STL was on there. As I was mentioning about my brother who just had this gear break in this $500 machine, I just got the number from him a few minutes ago. So we'll be going on and seeing if I can find that part right on the site. You know, if not, I'm going to have to model it in Fusion, but it'd be really nice if didn't have to do that. Brenna's opening up the windows for us. Actually, can I get you to cover it some more again? Sorry.
Yeah, if I open my windows, we're not going to get that kind of light. It's pitch black here.
Richard, were you talking about, was it McMaster-Carr or GrabCAD? Was that one of the websites you were talking about that manufacturers have the STLs?
I'll have to go hunting to see where it is because I don't know if I have it on this machine.
I know like Fusion 360 has, they're integrated with McMaster-Carr. You can go right on, not everything, but you can get step files, or I forget what Fusion calls theirs, but you can get 3D CAD models of stuff that's dimensionally accurate and import directly into Fusion 360 without ever actually leaving Fusion, which is kind of nice. I've used that already for things like bearings and stuff.
Okay, yeah, no, this wasn't like that. This was independent. And I don't know if you could get CAD files. I know the STLs were there. As I said, I just took a look here, and it's not on any of my imports, so I must have it tucked away somewhere else. So
do you use Google Chrome for your browsing?
I have both Chrome and Firefox in this machine, so
you might be able to go back and look at your your search history.
That's what I was just doing on here, and now it's
right
on Chrome, so may have been on Firefox, which is shut down on this machine right now.
If you when you do find what that website is, I'd be curious to take a look at that.
Yeah,
if you don't mind sending it to me.
Well, it's a great concept. I mentioned about the auto industry when Ford announced that I think it's 2018, one of their truck lines, the manifold will be 3D printed in production. And their goal is to move their entire production line into 3D printing, as much as possible. But they mentioned there that if they make a door handle for this truck, for every handle they make to go on the truck to get sold, they have to make 500 more to stock all the parts supplies locations around the world. And they want to move away from that. They'd much rather to have the part supply depots to have a 3D printer, and you need a part, you go there, you print it out. So that's the direction they want to move in.
Yeah, there's a rumor, and I'd say a rumor, I think it came right from the Black Belt printer company, but that Ford was actually looking at the Black Belt for printing things like running boards and stuff.
Well, I'm trying to think of the other company name I looked at quite a while back. They were dealing with Boeing, and Boeing, some of the parts, they're now 3D printing for production components for their aircraft. Since they use the exact same resin that they use for their traditional manufacturing process, they don't have to get it recertified because they're using the same materials. They're just hardening it in a different manner. And there's no tooling up cost, which is a huge saving for them.
We were talking about things, summertime prints that we're looking at doing in the future. One of the bigger ones I finally got Jen to get on board with, we're going to be doing Star Wars themed fountains in the front yard. And I'm not talking like a little fountain. I'm talking probably 2.5, 3 feet tall, shooting water out of their lightsaber, or out of their not out of their lightsaber, out of the blaster. We're gonna do a shore trooper, or a stormtrooper, or a shore trooper, one of the troopers, and we're not sure what's gonna be on the other side. Whether it's gonna be like a Yoda or what, but they're gonna be shooting blasters and have water coming out of the blaster. That's one of the models we're working on.
Well, then you got to bury LEDs in it, so at nighttime the water is lit up.
Absolutely, yeah, that's the whole point.
Well, now's the time to start thinking about Halloween.
Yeah, that's on my mind too.
I'm actually already in Christmas mode. It's already
Christmas mode. You skipped
Halloween. I have already started planning for my Christmas decorating. I actually start decorating for Christmas at the end of October. So yeah, it's it's a big production around here.
Oh, well, what I've been looking at is you can get files for the hanging candles from Hogwarts, from Harry Potter, and you can use those as Christmas lights. So that's something I want to start looking at now.
That reminded me of another suggestion from Josh from Design Make Teach, where he was saying you can have your kids draw with Sharpie, and then you can convert that into 3D prints. And the reason I was reminded is we're talking about Halloween, and that's what I've done with, I have like little pumpkin pendants, and I would take like Sharpies and I would scan it in and convert it to SVG and Inkscape, and then use it to carve out faces into the little pumpkin pendants. So it is something very feasible to do with children.
Cool. Brenna, what else do you have on your plate?
I don't know, stuff and things and words. I'm making buttons. That's a thing. I'm gonna make some buttons with like character designs of things on them. So I guess that's on my plate.
Brenna and I both have a learning curve because we both now have ZBrush Core. So we get to learn how to use that and start designing items.
I was just getting used to Sculptress, and now it's all different.
So I played with ZBrush very lightly, and I played with Sculptress very lightly. Is it really a lot of difference between the two of them? Because Sculptress basically is like a free version of ZBrush, correct?
Basically, yes. I'm not sure I'm the right person to talk to about it, because like I was just getting into Sculptress, so I'm no expert on it, and then suddenly I have this bigger program here, and it's like, well, this is actually interesting.
That's actually what I'm getting at. Like, just from somebody that's new to both of them, how different? Like, are you finding that almost everything's different, or?
Well, when I first opened it, it was just like, oh, okay, this is the same thing, and then I went to do something, and I'm like, but it's not doing the thing the same way it was doing the last way. What am I doing different? What is going on? So like it looks the same, but it's not acting the same. But that just might be entirely on me.
I want to play with them. I had access to ZBrush. Is Core the full one, or is Core the knockdown version, the cheaper version?
Core is the cheaper version. It was, I think, $199, and that included the Wacom tablet.
Oh, really? That included a Wacom tablet too?
Yep.
Wow, that's actually, when you look at it that way, that's not a bad price.
No, that's really cheap if it comes with the tablet.
Yeah, because the tablets are $100.
Everything around doing that, because these tablets also take touch control.
Yeah.
So where did everybody just go? Oops.
See, this is where I turned off the touch on my Wacom tablet, Dad.
There we go.
Yeah, that's actually really good to know that comes with. I mean, I have 2 Wacom tablets already. I really don't need another one of the simple ones, but that's not a bad price. I didn't know it came with that.
Yeah, no, it's a good deal, and I like these tablets. You know, I got my first Wacom tablet. I figured out it was in 1991, and it was a huge thing. And for the 3D software we're using back then.
And then you still got this one, which is at least 10 years old.
Yeah.
You know, the Graphire 3.
And the one that actually had the video attached to it, that's the one we lost in the flood.
I like
Oh, that's the ones I want. I've had one for doing photography stuff on the side, and I've wanted one of the Cintiqs, the ones that's actually drawn on the display for the longest time. But those things are out of my price range for sure.
They're
Rather
so
expensive.
nice, though. They're so nice to use. You don't have to have your hand down somewhere else and your eyes fixed in a different location. It's all right there.
Yeah.
And you can trace over things too. That was really nice.
Well, I just picked up an iPad Pro, a 10-inch iPad Pro, and you can get a pen for that as well. So I'm going to be experimenting with the editing software right on there.
Hey, Richard, Chris's Practical Printing is in the chat looking for mod privileges so he can post a link.
Oh, all right. There we go. Got that looked after. So, Vicky, were there any other ideas of things, fun things for kids and that you were thinking of?
Oh my goodness. I was actually switching and thinking about wine. Kids. Let's see.
Wine's good.
Well, yeah, so can I go on that, I guess, and we'll come back to kids. I love kids.
Oh, kids can be at any age.
Summer, you have weddings, so you could do wedding favors or wedding toppers. I was actually just Googling to see if there's any news on the Geek Tech wedding. Geek Tech's been a participant in our Friday night live streams, and they actually got married last Saturday, and it featured a lot of 3D printed items, but we'll have to wait for a future live stream to hear about that wedding and how it went. But over the summer, I have like little gazebos that are just like gazebos in my town. I didn't think it would appeal to anybody, but people order them for weddings because people get engaged in gazebos. They get married in gazebos, and then they sometimes put it on top of the wedding cake. So I tend to print a bunch of these over the summer. And then on wine, I was thinking summer wine, easy project that you can hit into is just little wine stoppers. And this is just a little school bus, which Glenn, your painting issue, yeah, I have that. I'm not going to get this any closer to the camera because you'll see the little lines of the black and the yellow where they shouldn't be. If you want to get ambitious, you can also do like wine racks. This is what I did with cork fill. This is a flawed print, but a proof of concept. But this is one thing I did with cork fill. I embedded corks into the wine rack, so you can actually as a wine holder with your wine corks. So yeah, summer, wine, weddings. Start brainstorming on kids again.
Here's the print that Chris posted. He said this is his favorite summertime print. Can you guys see that?
Oh, it's Birdhouse in Your Soul.
Yeah, that's the one that Practical Printing Chris was talking about in the chat. That's his favorite summer print.
That's great.
I never thought about 3D printing birdhouses. That's awesome.
I've been wanting to, and I'm going to keep this tab open now so I can probably start one tonight after the stream. I've been wanting to do them. I've been seeing them pop up. There's another one, too, that's sort of like kind of like the mechanical iris. It's a print in place that it prints out like basically folded up. And once you print it, then you expand it up against like the side of a house or whatever you're installing it against. Something to that extent. I want to print one of those too.
I've seen one. It was a birdhouse, but it was designed so you can actually attach it to a window, so you could look in. So I don't know how the birds would like that, but it was a neat design.
All right, I'm answering people in the chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're all looking over at the chat, seeing what's going on there. Yeah. And I got a dog whining beside me here.
And for everybody in the chat, if you guys, if something you want to show that's your favorite summertime print, if you can send me the thing number or not sure exactly how else to have you get me the link. I'll try to pull it up here on the screen to show it in the stream if you have something.
Well, there's one I have to get looking for here for Halloween, and it's sort of the Frankenstein type light switch. So putting down the electrical current on it. And we have friends who Halloween is the event of the year, blows away Christmas. So I think it'd be ideal for them. And they have different designs depending on what type of light switch you have. So I have to get working on that. Ever since I thought about getting a 3D printer, I wanted to make that model. Here, I'll just see if I can find it. So what else is going on in the 3D world?
Real quick, I have another cork project, and this one could be for kids. Actually, you can print heads and butts for little kitty cats. There are also models on Thingiverse for pigs and reindeers and I think dogs and stuff like that. And then you just take a cork, you got their heads and your butts, and you put it in, and the kids can paint them. So yay, see wine and kids together.
Well, wine and kids go together because generally wine leads to having kids.
And then kids lead back to wine.
Here,
Those are really cool, Vicky.
See if I can get this.
And if you have your cork fill, you could print it right in place, right?
Yeah, the cork fill corks.
Here's the Frankenstein light switch on Thingiverse. And so that's one I want to try. And you can get it set up for 2 switches as well. So I think that's a great design.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much for that, Richard. I think that Xander now wants one of those.
Here, I'll put the link in chat so it's down there. There we go. If I can find where I put chat. There.
You know, if it'll get him to turn his light off when he leaves the room, I'm good with it.
There you go, helping the environment with more plastic.
Well, I got in my last order from Micromart, I got a roll of the algae-based PLA. So I haven't tried printing anything with it yet. So see how that works for the environment. It's been interesting watching the various reviews of the Prusa multi-material printer, and especially the, what do they call it? The white block, where it goes to purge the filament between color changes. And there's not as much filament in there as you would expect. You still get the bricks though, but it'd be interesting to see what you can do with those bricks. I've been thinking that, everybody's concerned about, we've got 3D printers, we're generating all this extra material, what can you do with it? And the people that have experienced or tried turning it back into filament seems to be a major challenge, doesn't work all that well. I was thinking maybe we can make a little compressor so we can make bricks that can use as like patio bricks or something like that.
I've been thinking of doing a fine art piece with all the little scraps we've got, glue them all together, coat the whole thing in spray paint, say something deep and meaningful.
My mother last Christmas got one of those, it's a clear Christmas ornament ball from Michael's, that you can put mementos or souvenirs in it. And she just reached into my little fill bin and just grabbed a whole bunch of spaghetti and threw it in there.
No, it's been an issue since we have had a few failed prints, but then you can learn how to do things. The whole goal is to get past those. It's one of the big negatives out there that the people that have heard about 3D printing either think that in order to make your first print, you have to totally rebuild the printer and many of the newer printers have gone beyond that. They're actually, usable almost immediately. The other thing is okay, all the failures. I think we're finally getting that. More and more printers are getting the technology there, so you can pick up after a power failure or something. You're not starting back from scratch on that 100-hour print. All right, keep looking over here and see what's happening on chat.
Yeah, I was just doing the same thing. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything over there.
Yeah, Rep Cord's just throwing jokes over my head. That's all.
Well, we covered the fun stuff. We've been talking for 2 weeks, or 2 of these shows, about reaching out to the public. It sounds like that discussion has helped a few people decide to step out. Any feedback, or have you folks tried that?
I haven't had any progress on it at all this week. I've been on call for work and not getting home until 8, 9 o'clock at night. So trying to talk to the library is kind of out of the question for me at the moment.
And as I mentioned, the library here had that portable makerspace. I am going to be set up there with my printer on one of their tech days. So I'll be right by the front door and print out something small on a regular basis, so people can see how that can be handled. And the other thing is, I found, I've tracked down, we're in a small community, there's 6,000 people here. I've tracked down 12 3D printers in town right now. Most of them are gathering dust by the sound of it. There's one Brenna and I really want to go see. It's outside of town, and it's a company that does professional 3D printing for museums and the movie industry, and worldwide. So we're going to go knock on their door one of these days, and it sounds like they have an SLS set up there, as well as, well, they got everything set up. And they're in a big old potato warehouse right beside the train tracks outside of town. So looking forward to seeing what they have. But in town with the 12 folks, I was thinking we're going to get some publicity from me being in the library, because the library wants to put it in to their weekly write-up into the newspaper here. I was thinking right after that, or maybe part of that write-up, I'm going to see if I can book the meeting room at the library and just invite people to come in, and if they have 3D printers, we can talk about printing, or if they want to learn, we can meet that way, just to get the conversation going a little bit more within the community.
Xander and I live in a small town that borders a huge retirement community, and yeah, there's nothing 3D printing here. We may have the actual only 3D printer in this area, so yeah, there's not much outreach going on here. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of interest.
One of the guys that's really keen on having me do some stuff, I'd say he's in his late 70s, and but it's quite interesting, and he makes scale models of things, and there used to be a silver mine in town, and so he needs 27 windows, and I'm still waiting for the picture of the window to arrive so I can model that. So actually I got some interesting responses from the seniors, so the retirement communities may not be completely out of reach within the 3D printing.
No, there's probably going to be some good opportunities in there. I just have to go to there's a club for everything. It's the Villages. If you don't know what the Villages is, it actually started as a housing development, and it's turned into this huge community. But they have a club literally for everything. I mean, there's a kite club, a model train club, there's RC club, there's polo club, there's club for everything. So, but there's not a central hub that I can go to. I'm gonna have to actually hit each of these clubs and see if there's a need, or if maybe there's already somebody doing something inside the clubs. But like, the clubs don't tie to the library or anywhere easy like that.
They don't have a central community building. I know that plus 55 communities in Calgary, they normally have a central building and you can put up notices there and people book that for their gatherings.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, the clubs, the residents, they'll just like a couple of guys will get together and they'll be like, hey, let's start a boating club, and then they'll get more people together, and then poof, it's a club. So like they're not necessarily sanctioned by anybody, and so there's not like a general registry. You just gotta find out where that club's meeting and go show up.
Yeah, you get to meet a lot of the people. I've run in a couple of elections for the community I used to live in, and you get into the plus 55 communities, you can get some very interesting conversations going on. And when you're door knocking, you do go to every door, so you get to see the wide variety of what people are up to. Once again, just scanning chat here.
Yeah, sorry. Chat clued me into something that I apparently missed that I'm correcting right now.
Hey, Richard,
yes.
I'm sending you a link. This is from, in the chat, this is his favorite summertime print. Do you see it?
Yep. And
I was thinking you do better luck with the screen sharing. Last time I tried, I crashed my whole browser.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And there we go. Do you want to, well, I have to keep talking to keep it up unless I get into camera control. That looks like a beach kit.
Yeah, I think he said he printed it right before trip. Let me check my messages
I
here.
actually considered doing that, but it's you can go to the Dollar Tree and get them for $1.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you have a special need, like, you know, like, hey, I want to make a mold like the Starship Enterprise, or, you know, you have something that you want to make sand molds out of, that is a perfect 3D printing project before you go to the beach.
Yeah, it was just the thought of, you know, 10 hours of printing or 2 seconds at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah, sometimes that's a question, and then sometimes it's a matter of, well, if I do this, then I know how to actually do the print. There's one person I haven't heard back from for a while, though. Bob might be on here. He's looking for a chainmail. That's my medieval side kicking in. A chain link fence, but in the same scale that RC vehicles are in. He's doing a big trucking depot, modeling the entire building. So this whole thing's going to be, I think he said like 20 feet long by the time he's done. But he was wanting to 3D print the fence, and I don't think it's a great solution, but I'm looking on the grading there. And who knows, it might work.
That sounds like a good job for the black belt printer. Just charge him a lot and then pick up one of those.
Just keep rolling it out. No, it's you keep hearing of interesting projects I mentioned last time. I haven't got pictures yet, but a request to make dollhouse furniture. So that should be fun. And then chatting to someone else in town, they said, well, their store, it's down the street. If I wanted to put stuff on consignment there, they'd be happy to have it there. So things like Vicky's gazebos there. I don't know if we have a gazebo here. We might have it at the one park, Millennium Park. We'll have to see it. I don't think we have one down the road. I know in High River we had one, and that's where Brenna graduated. Their big ceremony was there.
Has anybody seen the talking about like the structure, like Vicky's gazebos and the local buildings and stuff? Has anybody ever seen the YouTube video of I'm not even sure who ever did it. They went around, they scanned like chips out of like concrete steps and stuff where like it's missing a chunk of the concrete. They used their phone, took snapshots of it, went back and rendered a 3D version of it, and then printed out what made it look like Legos. They went back and like stuck it just dry fit, stuck it back into the hole or into the chip. So it makes it look like the steps are made out of Legos or something like that. Anybody ever see that video?
I have not.
I've heard of it. I don't know if I don't recall ever seeing it, but I remember hearing somebody talk about it.
I've seen a few stills from it on Tumblr.
That's something that I'd like to do. Is try my hand at that one of these days.
I would be terrified to step on those steps and to be afraid it would hurt my feet. I've stepped on Lego.
Yeah, those midnight walks through the house, when you find the only piece of Lego that didn't get picked up. Bare feet can find that just like that.
You're welcome.
I'm trying to find Design Make Teach posted in the chat this sand roller. I'm trying to find the pictures of it. This is a roller that like you do like your sandcastle, and it leaves like a brickwork texture in the sand.
Dude, you could make sand molds that look like the worms from Dune.
Oh, what a good idea.
Oh, I like that. A little bit off topic. Brenna found me a perfectly legal unabridged audiobook of Lord of the Rings. It's incredibly well done. It's been a joy to listen to while I'm doing other things. I normally have it on while I'm working away on projects.
100% legal. Not going against someone's copyrights at all. No.
And yeah, even though it's not an official one, this thing is much better than the majority of audiobooks I've ever listened to. So.
I'm kind of curious how that would go, because the movie was 9 hours of them walking through the mountain and the woods. How would an audiobook cover that?
Well, let's see. I just listened to Shogun, and it was 53 hours. And I'm listening to War and Peace right now.
Wow.
And that'll be another 50 hours. So
that's dedication.
My husband just started listening to War and Peace.
I'm just loving this one. It's out from the library, and the party. You're at a party at the beginning of the book, and you have various princes and princesses and dukes and all the upper establishment, the upper class, and they have the voices down beautifully. You can just picture the noses up in the air and the disdain going on with some of these conversations. It's quite enjoyable to listen to. It was a murder to read back in college, but now you can listen to it and actually enjoy it.
Lord of the Rings, the first book looks like it's about 20 hours. Two Towers.
Yep.
It's 20 hours for the first book, you said?
Fellowship of the Ring, yes.
Matt, I see it. Look at Matt's screen.
Here's the
Lego
thing. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce this guy's name, this artist's name. And I'm not exactly sure if this is actually the 3D printed ones, or if that actually looks like that may be real Lego. I'm looking to see here if there's, looks like that's the only picture they have.
Yeah,
I just posted the link to that in the chat.
Yeah.
The thing I was looking at was kind of along the same lines, but I mean, it like fit perfectly. Like it looked like it was meant to be there. They did one that like looked like a city instead of just Legos and stuff. But yeah, it's something along the lines of this is what I was talking about.
I want to try that.
Sorry, didn't mean to sidetrack the conversation again.
No, that's perfect.
Tangents are kind of what we do here. If you hadn't
Yeah,
noticed.
and thanks to Space Monster 505 in the chat for sending me the title to that so I could find it.
And no, that looks like a great project. In Vancouver, the one community, they put stories, I think it was, on some of the corner tiles. a little bit of history for that block, or if there was a fire in 1899 or whatever like that. There's a little notation there.
They did that in Watch_Dogs, the video game. I can't remember what city you're in that game, but there's little tiles on every block, and it's part of the end game to go find all of them.
Cool.
So it's cool that that's an actual thing in real life and not just a video game mechanic.
Yeah, well, when you get into some of these older communities, we don't have a sidewalk in front of the house, which I'm thankful for during the winter, because it means I have no shoveling there. Although the ambulance crew did give me heck, because they came in the front door one time. But the street up, I think it has an older sidewalk, so I have to walk along that and maybe sneak something in there, try it out. I think that'll definitely be a pet G, though. Google's how to walk. Well, what I'm looking for is a robot. It knows how to watch the printer in case spaghetti starts, and then it handle it instead of me coming in and finding it afterwards. That'd be a good robot there.
I want a robot that does my homework.
Yeah, but then you don't do the learning.
Yeah, but they pile so much homework on you at school nowadays. You don't have time to learn. You just have to mechanically do as much as you possibly can, and you don't have time to retain any of that.
That's right. All that homework takes you away from 3D printing time.
Yeah.
Can't be doing all that homework. We have videos to make and edit.
What's the cat's name?
Katniss, actually. Like Katniss, like from Hunger Games.
Katniss Everdeen.
Yes. My wife lately just calls her Trouble, however.
We had two Siamese cats. They're called Trouble and Double Trouble.
Well, when we first got her, we let her in the house for a little bit till she got acclimated with us. We rescued her. And then she started going outside, and she was outside all the time. And something happened, something spooked her, but now she won't go outside. So.
Well, Gus can't do it in here, but when I'm in the other room, he normally joins in our chats, and he's quite interested in the print beds and the printers where they're in action. So that's why our printers are slowly becoming enclosed. It's to keep the cat out. And he's a tux as well.
Oh yeah, no, she knows there's strict rules. No getting on the desk, which is now where the printers are. She knows better. She only does it when I'm not here.
Oh, when we got our MK2S, she claimed the box. Or he. Shouldn't say he. That became his toy. Get this stuff out of the box so I can have my box.
That's right. That's how if I fits, I sits, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's no.
Chuck Hellebuck's in the chat. He sent me the link to the actual YouTube video that I was talking about.
Okay.
Which is now in the chat. I posted the link. Apparently, my screen sharing doesn't want to work for you guys to be able to see that video. But definitely go check that video out if you're curious about what I was talking about.
Here, I'll see if I can.
And if you want to see if you can get it.
Let's see. There it is. So can you see it now?
As long as you keep talking.
Is that all I have to keep talking?
Yeah, or if you click on your picture, Richard, it'll lock one to you.
Okay, there. That's coming through?
Yep.
Yeah.
You could make it full screen.
I'm just looking at Matt.
Oh. Is that coming through? Well, these are great ideas. Just as long as the video is working. He's using Agisoft. That's the same software I'm using. Nice to see it in action. And he knows his way around it. Now, this is a great idea. I like this. And adding in the blocks.
Okay, I know we're all being quiet, so it's showing Richard's screen. But Jen's sitting over here saying, "Can we take a hammer to our front step?"
Yeah, you know, I'm really good at a lot of things, but I'm not artsy. That is super impressive. I mean, you almost could not see where the concrete ended and the fake concrete began. That is really impressive.
That first video of the artist that's going around the world doing it, I mean, it was definite. Like, you could see the separation, but the final result of that looks real. It looks like it's meant to be there.
Yeah, that is amazingly impressive. I'm now watching it in the feed because you know the delay. So
yeah,
but it's a great idea. Yeah, I'll just let it run out here. Oh,
or not.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, make it real challenge. I don't know, what is the date on that video? I saw that like last year or something.
November 9th, 2012.
2012. Wow.
Yeah. There we go.
That video has been popping in my head. It's been a long time since I saw it. That's the first in a while that I actually got to see it. That's something I'd love to try. There's a few places around town that I'd just like to go do it and see if you start to hear people talk about it.
Yeah, you got to try that. We're around town just to expose a few things. No, that'd be fun. Okay, another thing to go on the list. Gee, I need another printer.
That's how this all starts, Dad. We've been over this.
We ordered our Prusa, and due to the back order, I was impatient, like I always am. So we ordered our ANET A8 based on the rave reviews that Nilla was giving it. Got that. Before the Prusa even arrived, I started looking at the CR10, and then, of course, Joel did his big review on it. Now you can't buy one.
Well, the name of it just escaped me. One I'm really interested in, and the only reason I really didn't buy it, was it does not use the 1.75 filament. It's the dual head printer, but each head is on separate controls.
The Sigma R17.
Sigma. Yeah. I'd love to have a Sigma. I just didn't want to duplicate our stock of filament here. If they had it in 1.75, I think that would have been on the list. But it's lost out. I have to build a workshop now to put most of my stuff in. I have a drill press in the kitchen.
Richard, is Agisoft, what's the cost on Agisoft? Or is it free or open source?
Agisoft is about $170 or $180 for the basic.
Okay.
I can post the link again.
Yeah, I got it right here.
You got it?
As I was asking that, I was clicking on the click and go. I wasn't sure if it was going to be that obvious that quick on their website.
There. No, the first time I looked at it, I missed their basic package. I just saw their full end package, And for that, I looked at the price and went, nope, not a chance. But
Yeah.
then somebody else mentioned the price and went and looked at it a little bit better. And yes, they have it, I forget, 170, 190, somewhere in there, US. 179 single license. There we go.
Yeah.
And there is, like everything else, a learning curve to it. That's why I've been overwhelmed, because I have that. I have ZBrush. What else do I have on here? I've been playing with different slicers, seeing, some of the slicers, what the differences are. I've never used Cura. I finally put that onto the system. Now, forget who did it. Was it Joel? Reviewed a number of, maybe it was Dustin, a number of the slicers out there, and there's one he covered that is extremely complicated to use, but you have control over anything. It looks like a very interesting package. If I can find my mouse, I can go look for it. The problem with having too many screens. Recently added. Nope.
Vicky, are you on the popular list that got your hands on the pre-release
No.
of Simplify?
No, I'm not.
I wish I was on that list. I really kind of want to know what's coming.
Yes, that looks very interesting to see what they're going to be doing there. So I am looking forward to that, because I do have Simplify. I haven't moved it onto this computer yet, but there's some things. It just has a nice flow to it. I've started to get better with the slicer with the 3 or slicker. I forced myself to use that, but it has been more of a force myself to use it.
Yeah, we started with Cura, being that's what, well, it came with the ANET. I ended up using it came with like 14 point something. We used the 2 point, I want to say it was 2.4 at the time. But so I got pretty good with it. I got very comfortable with it. Then the Prusa came along, so I moved over to the Slicer Prusa edition, and I'm actually having a little difficulty adjusting myself over to the other one. And at this point, I actually still use Cura for the ANET and Slicer Prusa edition for the Prusa. So I'm using
I actually use I still have all 4 slicers that I've ever used. I have Cura. Actually, technically 5, because I have the old 14 dot whatever of Cura, and then I have the newer, which is always confusing, the fact that the newer one is version 2. But I have both of those installed on my machine. Simplify 3D, and I have the Prusa edition Slick 3R. That I've just started messing with that, just because I have seen some of the issues that people were talking about with Simplify, where you're telling it to do 5 top layers and it does 2, stuff like that, and it's not filling in the top of my prints the way I want it to. So I've been playing with the other ones, but again, I'm really curious. I paid for Simplify out of all those, so I'd really like to see them improve something.
The one that you talked about, the very detailed one, is the KISS slicer.
That's one of the originals too, isn't it?
Yeah, and he brought it up as this is one he thought was dead, hadn't been worked on. It's a single fellow doing it, but no, he's brought it back, or got started back on the project again, and then working on it. I've had a quick look at it, and yes, you have a ton of controls there. So it's the complete opposite from Prusa Control, where you plunk something in and say print, pretty much. But it does look like an interesting package. And yes, just trying to get used to, or experimenting with Cura. Because, yeah, with my horses, the slice coming out of Cura is much better than what I'm getting out of Simplify. It's trying to find the right connection for the project.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mac.
Go ahead, Glenn.
It's almost like you need to have more than one slicer, and not so much of a different slicer for different printers, but like like there's been issues in Cura where I've drawn my own things in Rhino, went to slice it, and it does like these weird horizontal lines, and you can see it in Cura, and I never really paid attention to it till somebody else mentioned it on Facebook. It shows it in the rendering, and then when you print it, those lines are there, and yet other slicers don't do that. But then the other slicer does something that it's almost like you have to have each of them, and you have to try that STL in every slice to get the best one out of all your slicers.
They do definitely each have their advantages. I stick primarily to Simplify 3D because I constantly am playing with the different multiple processes and stuff, where I'm not necessarily printing 50% infill the whole way through a print. Most of my prints I print like 5% infill, and only in specific sections do I print something higher than 5%. Or like I'll get up to the top and I'll increase it to like 10 or 20% just to help with that top layer. So I stick to Simplify a lot for everything, and I think part of that's because I paid for it. Had I not paid for it, had it been one of the other free ones, I probably would have jumped to like Prusa Edition Slick 3R Slicer, however you want to say it.
Well, you know, my problem with the horses is the lower jaw sometimes doesn't want to slice properly. When you do the print, there's no jaw there. And so when I draw the horse, I have to make sure the mouth is closed. But the model is designed to be able to open the mouth. And so since that's a separate component, the slice still treats it as a separate item and sometimes drops it off. As I said, in Cura, it works. But in Slicker and in Simplify, it doesn't. Cruise and Control is fantastic if you want to do a quick color change on a level, or just a quick print. You know, it's great to fire stuff in there. And once again, in Slicker, going in to smooth the upper layers, that tool is a very handy tool there as well. So it seems to be, yeah, you have to sort of know what the strength and weakness of each package is before you can settle on one.
I've got a Raptor file from the dinosaur game Ark Survival that I'm going to try printing, but it's got all these feathers on it, so I'm going to have to put it through several different slicers to find the right one for that. It's going to be an interesting experiment.
Well, we've gone through the exercise too of trying to get WoW characters out, because it's supposed to be a way to get them, get a model that you can actually print of your WoW character. And so far, following the various tutorials, haven't had any success yet. I'm off of WoW. I now live in Minecraft. Matter of fact, this week I did my first Twitch stream from playing Minecraft, but that stuff I don't think I'll be printing, because as Brenna knows, I do insane things in Minecraft for buildings. My current building is going to have 225 columns.
How many times have you built Helm's Deep now because the file's corrupted or you changed games? How many?
Oh, this will only be my fourth one.
Okay.
My third one, I ended up using about 10 million block moves. And I do everything in survival mode, not creative mode. So if you know Minecraft, you know, it means something to you. If not,
it means he's completely insane. Love you, Dad.
It's a great thing when your brain is dead. Are you sitting there waiting to see if the print is actually going to come out and not turn into spaghetti?
Nah, it doesn't turn into spaghetti when you're watching it.
No, of course not. You have to pay attention.
I was printing the roll holder for my toilet paper holder, and it got it was a 4-hour print, got to 7 minutes to completion, and for whatever reason the printer just like freaked out. The x-axis started grinding, the print head shot off to the side and started spewing. I was sitting here luckily, but and so when I went to print it the second time, like I thought, oh, it could be bad G code, but everything seemed fine, and I printed it again and I watched, and when it got down to that 7-minute mark again, I just eyes glued to it, just waiting, and it was fine the second time. I have no idea what happened to it the first time, but.
Hey, Glenn, can you hold up your paper towel roller again? My wife wasn't watching earlier.
Oh, it's not paper towel. That's toilet paper.
Toilet paper, I mean. She's waiting on the delay. I'm waiting for a reaction now.
And then it's got these nice slots in the back. You can put suction cups in there if you want. The guy who designed it did a really magnificent job. I mean, it legitimately looks like a minifig. And then the eyes and the mouth are recessed. So. I had Xander steal that off the bathroom wall so that he could bring it up so I could show you guys tonight.
Thank you, Xander. I used to have a Kleenex box that was based on the Easter Island statues, and you pull the Kleenex out of the nose. That's another thing I lost in the flood. So now I think I can print one of those now. So that's on my to-do list as well.
That's hysterical.
I got one for a family friend, and my wife, I was going to give it to him for Christmas, and she said, no, you can't do that. That's too stupid and that. And I had to take it back, and I followed her instructions. And we told them after Christmas, and they said, because they saw mine, they said, oh, we want one of those. So I just looked at her and said, hey, we missed that one. Oh, well. Yeah, looking at the toilet holders, there was a great commercial out there. It has nothing really to do with 3D printing, but it just brings it to mind. And it's the husband following the wife around, and he has the iPad or a tablet, and she's looking for a book, and he has it on there, and looking for a map, and it brings up Google Maps and see and that. And then you see him in the bathroom, and he's out of toilet paper, and she slides the iPad underneath the door for him. The paper's still good for something.
Yeah, no, that's a little too creepy for me.
Voxelizer and Tinkercad. Okay. Yeah, we got these late night streams. That's not a problem.
Yeah, everybody on the East Coast everybody's starting to drop off. You can tell the time changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually, Xander's showing me up. I'm tired. I want to go to bed, but he's still going strong.
What time is it where you guys are, Glenn? You said you're in Florida, right?
Yeah, it's what, 11:50 now. We're peaking midnight, and he's supposed to be going to the beach tomorrow if he's not crabby.
Well, we're glad you're here, Xander.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been enjoyable having you guys in the stream with us.
We're completely stoked to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't lie. I mean, you guys read what I put in the Facebook group, and it was really weird being in there, like, because we knew all of you guys, but you had no idea who we were, which is kind of a weird thing. So when Vicky messaged me tonight, he was just ecstatic, spinning out of control. And like I said, he was just supposed to be going to bed, and he's like, "Oh, you can't make me go to bed. You got to let me stay. You got to let me stay." So we really appreciate you guys bringing us in on this.
Yeah. Hey, Millbean just joined us in chat there. No, I'm glad you're there, and I'm actually really interested to see how things develop over the next few months as you get into your printing. I want to see some Tinkercad designs. See what you make.
He's talking to you.
Yeah.
He wants you to design something. I will just put all the cards out on the table here because we had a little bit of an issue. I was making a video the other day about how to set up Octopi, and I had a little bit of a scuffle with him. He was kind of blowing me off on making videos again, and so we sat down. We had a good conversation, and I realized that a lot of the stuff that I was doing was just going right over his head. It's too advanced for him, and I have a hard time seeing that. You know, I know it. Why don't you know it? So we are going to have to kind of adjust our content a little bit. There might be a few more videos of me by myself doing the higher end stuff, And then we got to find some stuff that's geared more towards the kids. Because if he's not picking it up, nobody watching our videos is going to pick it up either. So that's going to kind of form our content too.
No, it's a great idea, and looking forward to it. Brenna and I assembled her printer live, and then we did mine, and it was interesting some of the comments we got as feedback, because it's it's a family project that way.
Absolutely. Well, when we did our ANET, one continuous shot, which was like 10.5 hours, and there's parts when you watch that video, there's parts where he's playing with rubber bands and stuff. He's bored out of his mind. The Prusa we did over the course of a few days, and we did each section as a video, so it was a little less daunting on him, but it needs to be more. He needs to put his hands on things more often. So if anybody has suggestions, for great projects for a 10-year-old,
yeah, let your imagination run. And well, you got the Minecraft stuff there. Are you the Minecraft fan or the Hulk fan?
The Minecraft.
Well, there you go. You can start designing stuff, putting stuff together in Minecraft, and then porting them out and printing those.
You should let me play more than Dad.
The kid already plays too much video games.
Well, he won't be playing now. He's actually working on a design for the 3D printing.
That's not actually playing Minecraft.
Xander, do you like Nerf guns and Nerf toys and stuff?
Yeah.
That's.
Sorry, I muted you. I muted him. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I really like Nerf guns. I've been getting them for a long time now. Like.
Have you looked into the different mods and stuff for the Nerf guns? All the 3D printed mods?
No, not yet.
Take a look on Thingiverse. That's what got my nephew, who's about your age, really interested in modeling. Is he first started printing a lot of the Nerf mods for his Nerf guns and everything, and then he started taking them and changing them, because you can import that stuff into Tinkercad too. So you can take somebody's STL that they've already started, like say the Picatinny rail mount for your Nerf gun. You can take that, import it, and then make something else on top of that. So you can build on what somebody else started. So you don't have to know it all necessarily, but you can make your own personal modifications.
That's a good avenue for him, Matt. Thank you. That's because he actually did a speech for school. He had to do a what is it called, Tropicana speech or something, and he did it based on Nerf gun. He even mentioned 3D printing in the speech, and he did well with it. He took first place in his class, and then and it was just about Nerf gun. So like he's got Nerf gun on the brain.
Yeah. The other thing too is on Tinkercad, you can search other people's models on Tinkercad too. Search for Nerf and see what you come up with. Like I said, that's what really got my younger nephew and really interested in modeling and everything. He liked the printer because he could make the stuff, but what really got him into Tinkercad and using it is the Nerf stuff.
Yeah, at this point, I'm pretty sure Xander's going to be in management, because he comes up with things he wants and he delegates it off on me to print it.
Well done, well done. Pass it on. Delegate. Good early lessons there.
Yeah, sure, Dad. Good early lessons. Except when you delegate on us, then we can't delegate to anyone else, Dad.
Oh, well.
Richard, do you want to, since we're coming up on actually exceeded the 2-hour mark, do you want to do real quick outros for everybody, just since we are at that 2-hour mark?
Sure. We'll be continuing on, folks, and as long as there's folks that want to stay on, but we'll just go through and, what's the project? Where can you be contacted? And what else do we cover for the wrap up? At one point we're talking about, if there's a specific YouTube video you've been watching, we can cover that as well. So Vicky, you're the first on my list on the side here, so why don't you go first?
Okay. You can find me on YouTube at TGAW 3D. You can find me at Twitter at TGAW. I have a 3D printing blog at www.tgaw.com. Future projects, probably still finishing up the Samoyeds and working on that glass wing butterfly. And I still have a porcupine that I want to do, which we could go into it if I ever do it. But yeah, thank you guys for having me. I'm probably going to jump off and head to bed soon, but it's been a joy. And thank you for joining us, Glenn and Xander.
Great, Matt, you're next on the list here.
Again, I'm Matt from How I Do It. You can come check out 3D printing, electronics, woodworking, basically just general how I go about doing things and my way of tackling projects on my channel. Some of the diversity on that is hopefully this weekend, as long as I don't get too many calls for work, I'll be posting up one video this week that's not 3D printing related at all, and hopefully editing most of one that I'm still in the progress of. But you can find me on Twitter at Country Cowboy. You can find me on Instagram as Matthew Flinchbaugh. And as far as the Friday 3D printing streams, if anybody is interested in hosting, the next stream will be July 28th at 10 p.m. Eastern. If anybody's interested in hosting that stream, let me know. You can find up-to-date information about the Friday 3D printing streams on Twitter at F3DPCH. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/F3DPCH. Does that take us right to it, Richard?
Yep.
Okay. And we're also on Reddit as well, reddit.com/r/F3DPCH. So if you're interested, jump on there, get in touch with us, and we'll get you the links to, there's a Google group for the streamers, and there's also a Google Hangout as well. All you need to be on the stream is some interest and knowledge in 3D printing and a webcam and a microphone, and you can join us on the stream.
Yeah, and don't feel like you have to be a very big channel or a huge channel to do the hosting.
Yeah, when we started this, I had 25 subscribers. So not that I'm huge now either, but yeah, we've got anybody from 1 subscriber to 2 million subscribers you can be on here. So with that said, as far as YouTube videos, I'm just going to post the link again to that sandstone Lego video for anybody who didn't get to see it. Check that out. I'll even post that again on Twitter just to bring everybody back around to that. I think it's a really cool technique and a really neat challenge, really.
Good. Glenn?
Well, I just want to thank all of you for letting us be here, and me and my dad watch these live streams like every other Friday, and we're like, we gotta join that, and just again, thank you for letting us be here.
Did you guys catch all that? He talks really quiet, but did you guys catch all that?
I heard that. We're just I don't know, just flattered and taken aback. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a little bummed. I see Nilla's in the chat. I'm bummed that he didn't come in here because it is Nilla's fault that we are where we are today. He was our inspiration to get started. I don't know if he believes that or not, but and Xander's always been a little bit starstruck by YouTubers, and I never understood that. But being here with you guys tonight was really cool for me. It was like getting to climb over the fence to be on the other side. So we definitely appreciate that. But for all of you guys out there that don't know, we're available at anything and then Fun King 3D. Facebook, Twitter, now YouTube, because we finally broke that 100 mark, which we were super stoked to do. Instagram, pretty much everywhere, followed by Fun King 3D will get us, or funking3d.com has a link to pretty much everywhere that we are. So does that cover it? I think that covers it.
Oh, great that you made it here.
There, Nilla Bean.
Yeah.
Look at that. He acknowledged you in chat. Thanks, Nilla.
I'm posting the links right now in the chat to everybody's YouTube channels as well.
Okay, and everything should be down below. I think I got everybody's contact info. So we'll get it fully there. Some of our information I notice is missing, but it's there. Brenna.
Hi, I'm Brenna, also known as SuperiorJello. I've
Everywhere.
lost my train of thought. Yeah, everywhere. Everywhere. No one else takes SuperiorJello. It's great. I did that on purpose. Were we talking about YouTube videos we've seen, or is that a different thing we're doing later?
We seem to skip that one. So
Okay, we're skipping that. That's fine. Okay. No, I'm me. I'm SuperiorJello. I haven't really been posting any videos on YouTube because I've been writing and doing other things. So you know. But there's some coming. I've got like 5 planned right now. So come subscribe. You'll see something eventually.
And she's busy doing documentaries too. So
Yeah, I do actually
real
have an
world.
actual job that I've been doing, so that kind of eats time. But you know.
And I'm Richard again, Zidim. It's always fun listening to folks like Dustin trying to say Zidim, but I'm Zidim 17 here on YouTube. It's the Zidim channel. I have zidim.com. That's my website. It links to everything. As I also have another channel, Songology, where we look at music and the stories behind the songs. But here for 3D printing, I focus on 3D printing and model trains, although most of the stuff has been more of doing stuff for the channel or doing other things or printing frogs. But we have been doing that. I stream live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. And my mug here says, I don't do mornings. I don't know why I chose 10 a.m., but there I am in the morning. And we've had some good conversations in the past. And I try to get something out every Sunday, although with the heat, I've been slacked off and living on the couch. So I've been missing those. But anyways, Zidim, I'm glad folks made it here. Fun conversation, nice and easy night. We'll keep on talking. Vicky, thanks for coming in. Xander, if you're going to bed soon, I'm glad you made it here, and hope you're not grumpy tomorrow so you can go have fun. And I am looking forward to seeing with what you come up with your imagination in Tinkercad. There we go. We divert into whatever people want to chat about. What's going on there in chat?
See you, Vicky. Thanks for joining us. Sorry, I was spamming chat with everybody who has if I missed anybody in chat, let me know that has a YouTube channel. I'll post the link, especially for anybody who, even if you guys aren't on the stream with us, again, these streams are all about the community. It's not just about all of us on camera. So if you want your YouTube channel or social media or whatever links posted, let me know and I'll get them into the chat for you.
Yes, no, I think that's why they have 2 printers now.
Xander gets the Prusa and Glenn gets the A8.
Well, sadly enough, with the results I'm getting, I'm kind of leaning that way. It feels,
that's true. You did say that.
It feels dirty because the Prusa was so much more expensive than the cheapy A-Net, and yet the A-Net prints, like, I go to print something, I'm like, I'll just print it on the A-Net. But in fairness to Prusa, I mean, don't anybody take this the wrong way, because I've done no tuning to the Prusa yet at all. I mean, I haven't done the extruder calibration. I did like the V2 cal and all that, but no, I haven't done any fine tuning to it yet. So, which is probably why it's not as nice. I mean, my maker coin turned out pretty cool. I did this at a point. I'm see if I get it up close to the camera. I did it at 0.1 just so that it was really, really nice. But
that turns out nice. Yeah.
It was like a 2-hour print for that, though.
Yeah. What infill did you use on it too? Did you go with a high infill?
I'm gonna cheat and look because I can't remember. 10%. Yeah, it was just a 10% infill on it. So this one took a little longer because I did the color change on it. This one was just, just the single color, but
The original.
some I've noticed in Cura, and I don't know if it's just me or if it's the way it is, but in my Cura 2 point whatever it is now, 2.62 I think. If I go from a 20% to a 30% infill, the infill changes dramatically. Like I can go 20%, 25%. It's pretty much the way it should be. And then all of a sudden you go to 30 and it gets really tiny, like it's not supposed to be. Like all of a sudden it gets super small.
Have you tried going in increments of 1% to see where, like, is it actually right between 29 and 30?
I can't remember, but I'll actually try it right this second.
I know I've used infill percentages already. I've set it and I've looked at the model. I'm like, that is not what I anticipated. That's just way too thick of an infill or way too light or whatever. And I usually will stick with 5, 10, or 20% for the most part.
Yeah, and of course it's not doing it on the STL that I have open. So maybe
it could be the model too.
Well, I was going to say it could be because I just did the upgrade and I hadn't really messed with it since then, or maybe I'm just insane, one or the other.
Well, we had a battle with Brenna's printer the other night. We got to work on it, as it was a print. What was it, Brenna? Star Wars?
They're distance and measuring thingies for the X-Wing minifigures game.
Okay, yeah. And on the right side of the bed, things were printing right, but right around the middle, it started changing. And so tried doing a bed level calibration, and it turns out the lack enclosure, the way it's set up right now, we can't go to the maximum Z height. So now I know why some of the legs out there in the lack table designs actually are about 3 inches. They add that to the height of the upper lack table. So I have to print those and see how it goes from there. Do a proper calibration. And then we do have to finish calibrating both printers. Well, I'm going to have to do mine anyway, since it's in pieces right now.
Hey, K2.
That looked like you were carrying a bowling ball when you first came through the door, man. Oh, he doesn't have his earphones in yet.
No. There we go.
Yeah, I could hear us.
I said that looked like a bowling ball you were carrying when you first came through the door.
I'm grabbing another project to just show off a little bit.
Brenna had me watch, was it Rebel One?
Rogue One.
Rogue One, yes. So I'm slowly catching up on this stuff.
Yeah, being in 3D printing, I think it's kind of a requirement that you have to know about it.
Well, the fact that she's trying to get into the 501st also means we're learning a lot more of the lore of Star Wars.
So much of the lore.
And looking at the details.
So it's up in the camera.
I was appalled to find the change. We watched a Blu-ray edition of what's the third one? My brain's doing great tonight. Of the original 3. Return of the Jedi. Is that
there
it?
You go.
Yeah. At that one, when Darth Vader throws the Emperor down the shaft. In the Blu-ray edition, they added the "no" from the 3rd prequel when he finds out that
Padme's dead.
Yes.
It's terrible. It's a terrible change. Why would they do that? It's horrible.
Here, Richard, we'll put you to the test. Who's this?
Haven't a clue. Come on, brain. Familiar.
You said you saw Rogue One, right?
Yeah. No, I can picture him. I can't think of the name.
K2SO.
Yep. K2SO, yep.
All right.
You guys can see, like, I don't know if the camera's really picking it up or not. You can kind of see the eyes flickering a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The eyes, and on the side here, you can see the red light.
Yep.
And then there's a servo in the bottom of his head. I still have to finish the neck. I've been slacking on this one. The neck will go down to a base, and the servo will actually make his head sit there and rotate.
That's that robot that had like the smart ass attitude.
Yeah.
Whoop.
I kind of want to put together a cosplay of I forget the actor's name. How did I forget the actor's name? You know, Wash from Firefly. But the outfit that he's wearing when he was doing motion capture for K2SO with like the gray suit, and then he had on a backpack with 2 sticks, and then just a paper printout of K2's head.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of want to do a cosplay of that because I think it would be hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man.
Thanks.
I've seen some very interesting prints of R2D2 in that. I think Make Magazine had one about 2 years ago, and nice listing of how complicated you can get it. You can start with the basic and keep adding up. That'd be a fun project, I think, is have the working one. They figured the low-end working one, they're pricing out at about $300, $350.
We, my wife and I just bought a, it's a Silhouette Cameo 3. It's one of the paper die cutters. And I was looking tonight at like the Pepakura stuff, the 3D paper projects. I think I'm going to end up trying my hand at one of those for one of my Star Wars helmets instead of 3D printing all of it.
Could turn out interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Who is it? One of our regulars, they're not on tonight, has in the background. Oh, come on. My brain's just doing wonderful things with names right now. Disney movie, robot, picks up trash.
Wally.
Wally.
Chaos Cortec, Garrett Kearney. Yeah. Here's just another thing showing off a little bit. These are the 2 R2D2s that I sent to the Geek Tech wedding. Their wedding colors were purple and red. So I did up 2 R2D2s. The paint job was kind of rushed on them, so it's not the greatest. But that's what I sent down to them for their wedding.
They're adorable.
I was worried when I shipped them whether they were going to make it or not. The packaging was not the greatest.
Yeah, that's. I'm waiting to find out what the Maker Box coin turns out to look like. As hopefully they got all the parts now. They're getting close.
You know what? I'm probably one of the ones they're waiting on yet. I need to maybe tonight before I go to bed, I'll start printing that.
Isn't that like the 3rd time you said that?
It is. I have, and every single time I've started it, and then I found out that whatever printer I decided to use was having a problem that night or that day or whatever, and it didn't successfully print. So I have stuck true to my word. I started it, I just haven't finished it.
But no, that'd be some of these projects that are community projects. Looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah.
Now we talked about the update. It's coming out for Simply 3D, but I've heard there's a couple of new printers coming out that look like they're in the $500 price range. Trying to think of who they are. but they do look like they're right out of the box. They should be fully functional printers, but they are using a new design for the extruder, and so that's going to be a challenge. And, you know, as I said tonight, I'm having a terrible problem with names. I just went through an exercise with one fellow, we got in touch with each other, and he was having problems. It turns out he had a J-head extruder, which my understanding is one of the first designs. And the nozzle, the heat block and the nozzle are all one unit. They're machined out of the same piece of metal. So if you want to change nozzles, you got to pull out the thermistor. Is that the proper term? That does the actual heating, and then take out the whole heat block nozzle assembly and put your new one in and put the plug back in, and you're back together. So it was a royal pain to get through. He did get up and running again. But then we have the designs there in the Prusa. Trying to think of the name. Much easier to work out, because if you're dealing with the nozzle, you're dealing with one unit. And then, but you know, getting into some of these new designs, we're trying to get to a point where we can actually treat these, you know, more like the microwave as opposed to the kit that we're dealing with. Come on. Maker box coin. Yeah, yes, the 3-foot one. Yeah. There we go. I have too many contacts on here. We got the Titans on there, the Bowdens. I can't see it here. E3D version 6. I think that's the common one right now. Going through the jams I've had and going through this the fellows' problems with the J-head, you sure learn the details of how an extruder actually works, where you can get the problems from it. No, I can't find it in my scans. Not in my history. Oh. Does anyone else have anything they want to bring up tonight?
Honestly, I'm about tapped out after this week, so I'm probably going to hit the road here shortly. It was great being on. Nice meeting you, Glenn. Nice meeting you, Xander. You guys, I just followed you on Twitter and got you on YouTube now, too. I'll go check out your videos.
It's greatly appreciated.
Yep, absolutely. I saw your message, and I just, again, my week's been hectic. I just haven't had a chance to even follow back to your YouTube channel, but now I got it.
Yeah, I subscribe to you too, so we're on the list there as well.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. That first 100 milestone was that was a roller coaster.
How long has your channel been on?
I think just over a month now. Well, we ordered the Prusa on April 25th. So it would have been probably like a week and a half after that, because we actually started the channel without a 3D printer. We started the channel building this hotbox thing I was showing you guys with it's an Arduino based project, and so we started with, you know, figuring out the design of that and building it into a cardboard box until the printer got here. So
cool. If you hit 100 that quick, you guys are doing good. Keep it up.
Yeah, you're doing great.
It didn't feel very quick.
I started my channel back in October, November timeframe. Now, granted, you guys you've been around for half the time, or what, 2 months, and have twice as many videos, I think, as I do. But it took a while till I got to 100. If I was a little bit more active, it might have been up a little bit quicker. But you guys are doing great. Keep it up.
Well, I work from home too. I'm a construction estimator, so I work from here, and so I constantly, excuse the term, whore myself out all over Facebook every chance I get. So, you know, And then Joel was kind enough. I just reached out to him to ask him, you know, how I can go about legitimately building my user base without being a jerk about it. And he was nice enough to make a Facebook post, and we went from 33 users to 75 users from Friday to Monday. I mean, it was pretty incredible. So,
yeah. Oh, congratulations on hitting 100, and if you guys keep it up, you'll keep going.
I appreciate it. We're looking for the long haul.
Cool.
I'm not looking to retire. I don't want to quit my job and do this, full time or anything. But it's nice to know there's an audience out there. No, you're not making the videos for no reason.
Yeah, it's nice to get the feedback and get conversations going too.
Yeah, it was definitely nice getting to meet you guys tonight and getting to chat with you a bit. Definitely, I'll send you a message on Twitter tomorrow, get you hooked up with the Google group links and all that stuff for the streams, so that you guys are informed on the back end of it. Really appreciate that. Yeah, and I mean, I guess it was nice actually meeting you, because again, I mean, we knew all you guys. It was a very one-sided.
We know you.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And now you guys have the pleasure of knowing us.
And thanks, Xander, for making me not the only quote-unquote kid on here anymore.
Anytime.
All right. Well, I'm going to sign off, guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Make sure, if you're still in the chat, that you hit the thumbs up for the Zidim channel. And thanks for
if you haven't done so.
Yep. Hit like, subscribe. Richard, thanks for hosting tonight, and I'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
Yep. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.